Basically, what I'm saying is that I'm really ashamed of what I did for a Klondike bar. Hey guys, welcome to episode 27 of From the Middle. From the Middle is a podcast hosted by my brother Dylan Hubble, my good friend Kendall, and myself, Corey Hubble. We are middle-class guys living in the middle of America in the middle chapters of our lives with a point of view that's somewhere.
The trick is to not look at the camera.
Yeah, you don't want to look at it.
The camera's not there.
We're experimenting with video. We've talked about the fact that we should try to do video. And we don't know that it'll ever see the light of day, but
at least not this first one.
At least not this first one.
Dylan is having some troubles right now.
Do I
need to get my wife in here?
I'm just having fun. I'm just having fun with the camera.
We're gonna probably have issues with lighting and things like that, but we're just trying it. Trial by fire, see what happens. So, anyway, this is episode 27.
If we sound more handsome.
Yeah, if we sound more handsome, it's because we definitely are more handsome.
Or handsomer. I think
they're gonna know. They're gonna know we're lying. But we're excited. Another episode. It's always fun to record with you guys, and we just had a great episode with our good friend Brad.
B-Rad,
and we talked about Galaxy's Edge, and here we are a week later. And one of the things we forgot to talk about was that he and I went and saw Bert Kreischer together at the Palace Theater in Columbus. He was doing his Body Shots World Tour, and Bert is probably in my top 5 or 10 of comedians. He's not like somebody I would necessarily go seek out other than Brad, and had tickets and invited me. And I really like him. He sort of runs in the same circle as a lot of the guys that I like. Yeah. Theo Vaughn and Crystalia and Brian Callen and a lot of those other guys. But he was awesome, man. He just totally crushed. He's recording his special here at the end of the month in Cleveland. And so by the time this comes out, it'll be in a matter of days. And so you can tell he's gotten that hour down to an exact science. He knows all the timings. I mean, it was the first 15 or 20 minutes, and he was just machine gun making the whole theater laugh. It was nonstop.
Yeah.
And he was kind of checking his phone to see the timing because he knows he's got to get it down to that perfect, almost exact hour. But anyway, so Brad and I forgot to talk about that. We got so excited about geek culture and Star Wars and Harry Potter.
There was a lot of good Galaxy's Edge discussion.
If you're thinking about going and you haven't listened to episode 26 where we talked to Brad, you can just listen to us sort of
gawk
and become little 11-year-old kids. And so anyway, what's up, guys? What else is going on?
I made some changes to my everyday carry.
Oh,
thing. I don't know if that's interesting or not to anybody except myself.
It is,
but it's something that we talked about once.
Yeah. So what kind of changes? While I look up what episode that was.
So sure. So one of the things that I've been carrying with me for the longest time had been Tic Tacs.
Yeah.
And this could end up a side conversation if we want it to be, but I don't care if it does or not. I had tried Listerine breath spray. I just decided I'm going to try that and see how that works.
Yeah.
And it sucks. And so I didn't want to do that. Carried it with me, and it was just the act of actually having to suck down or chomp down on a Tic Tac is it turns out that's what I'm looking for.
It turns out because everything to you is about the research. We talked about that with Mr. Fershaw, how much you love researching the process of researching things. Yeah.
So then I went right back to Tic Tacs, but then our household has been on a kick lately, which has been fun and interesting, and we've learned some things, and we're still trying to learn. Basically, trying to eliminate as many one-time use plastics as we possibly can. And so we've made a bunch of switches and changes. And for me, one of those things was getting rid of Tic Tacs, right? And so now I'm going with the Altoid minis because they're metal, which is much more recyclable. So that's one change. Another one is my pin had to change, which I was mildly upset about because I've been carrying the Pilot Metropolitan fountain pen.
Yeah, you spoke very highly of that
for
in
a
episode
very long
14.
time. Episode 14.
If you want to go back and listen to the episode on everyday carrying, that was 14.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you want to get into using a fountain pen, especially if you've never experienced or never owned one before, and it sounds like an interesting kind of hobby-ish kind of thing that you might want to do, I would actually recommend the Pilot Metropolitan, as well as the one that I have in my hand right now, which I've switched to. The problem with the Pilot Metropolitan is that the cap gets a little weak over time, even though it's aluminum, like the seal on there. And for me, it's in a hip pocket, not in a breast pocket most of the time, and it would just come loose. And for a fountain pen, that's a big problem,
right?
And because it'll empty its ink in your pocket if you don't catch it. And so many pens in the fountain pen world have actually threaded caps for that reason. So I needed to switch to something that had a threaded cap, and I have the Kaweco Classic Sport is what it's called, and it's actually designed to be a pocket pen, so it's a little smaller profile. It has the threaded top, which is what I was mainly looking for. But also, one of the reasons why I bought it is because it is also recommended by a lot of folks to say, hey, this is one that's really easy to use, and it's not going to cost you a couple $100, which is good, especially. So if you're out there and you're beginning and you look at fountain pens and you're like, man, good ones are stupid expensive, I'm never going to do this. If you can spend like $20, $30 on something like a Kaweco Classic. Kaweco certainly has higher end ones as well.
Right.
The only difference really is material here.
That's super lightweight.
It is very lightweight.
Feather light.
They have this exact same pen in carbon fiber. They have it in aluminum. They have it in gold. They've got it in all kinds of things. I will probably at some point in time, if I end up liking this one, upgrade to an aluminum one. But
hot off the presses, the EDC has changed for Kendall.
EDC has changed, and my phone doesn't have a case anymore.
I noticed that actually.
I'm trying to go naked on the phone.
You're so brazen.
Which means I also picked up a wallet, which is literally it couldn't be simpler. Like it's literally just a leather pouch that holds like 2 cards. That's all I needed to hold.
Perfect.
So it's been a long time since anything has changed, and just go figure that when I changed one
you've got
thing,
the all black look going.
Gates, I've got the blackout look going, which I'm gonna try to keep that going. The all black situation. So,
speaking of products we love,
yeah,
this episode of From the Middle is brought to you by our sponsor, Backroom Coffee Roasters. They feel at home where wrenches spin and the scent of roasting coffee wafts through the air. Born in the back room of a bicycle shop in 2010, they quickly outgrew the space and now roast their small batch coffee in a rustic workshop just north of Columbus, surrounded by woods. The guys at Backroom Coffee Roasters are tinkerers by trade, and they fine-tune each coffee they roast until it meets their standards of quality over quantity. Coffee is the fuel that feeds them and is their catalyst for inspiration. Here's to coffee-fueled inspiration. If you want to support Backroom Coffee Roasters, as well as us by proxy, use promo code MIDDLER at checkout when ordering 6 bags or more for 10% off your first order. That's MIDDLER, MIDDLER. For orders of 3 to 5 bags, use promo code BACKROOM3, and that will get you free shipping. And if for some reason you're only ordering 2 bags of coffee or less, use promo code MIDDLER again, and you will get a free Backroom Coffee Roasters vinyl decal sticker, the one that Kendall was showing you there. So yeah, we're super thankful and excited about the partnership with Backroom Coffee Roasters. I know those guys. I've been to the shop. I've smelled the coffee wafting through the air, and they're just tinkerers. They like bikes and motorcycles, and they sponsor a couple big like motocross motorcycle events. Good group of guys. They're all about quality and attention to detail. They'll treat you right. And we kind of made not a pact, but we kind of agreed that we weren't going to hawk products that we didn't legitimately believe in. And you are a coffee guy. You appreciate all levels of coffee, and we're really impressed when we got a sort of sample from them. So thank you, Backroom Coffee Roasters. We'll put all of their info in all of our descriptions on social media, and we're excited about that. So
yeah, not just a sample, but like after you brought that, I was like, I need to try more.
Oh, yeah.
And so this was obviously well before that they were a sponsor of the show. Like I went and I've been buying it for myself since.
Yeah.
So
did you try the Ethiopian?
I haven't yet.
Okay.
I want to. That's the one I want to try the most. So that'll be
when
my,
I was at
my
the
next purchase.
When I was at the shop last, they have beans that are sitting and aging in a bourbon barrel.
That's interesting.
So they're going to have a bourbon barrel blend.
I've never had anything like
Roast?
that. It's possible that it's probable that other companies are trying the same kinds of things, but I have never had anything like that before. Anyway. So that'll be interesting.
Good stuff. Speaking of stickers, as we mentioned in our last episode, we did a very short run of our own From the Middle logo. You probably won't be able to see that, but we'll post pictures of it on social media as well, and we will get you all the details on how to get those and show all your friends and family and coworkers to which podcast you have sworn your allegiance for life. So we're excited about those. They are really high quality. Our friends at Guru Graphics did those for us. And they're like, I said this last time, and we gave all of our guests, any future guests, if you want incentive to join us.
There's a sticker in it for you.
There's a sticker in it for you. And when Brad held it, he was like, that's like really heavy duty. It's like 2 to 2.5 times thicker vinyl than most stickers. So we're really excited about getting those out to you guys. And we're going to do some fun things with posting those and contests. And we've got plans. We've got ideas. Yeah, we've got ideas.
Yeah. We don't need you as much as we want you.
Maybe not.
And we do. Oh, how we do. Want you. Please share, rate, review, like, say things. Speaking of fan interaction, friend interaction, middler interaction, I think we have a couple voicemails.
We do.
Is this accurate?
Oh, shoot.
He's going to need the code.
Son of a gun.
Hey, Dylan, what's your password?
07519. Got it.
Listening skill. So I think this is from our friend Jeremy. You guys have heard from him. He's a he's a longtime friend of the show. And this is in reference to...
he's a massive friend of the show.
I love you, Jeremy. I'm so sorry. If I had a dictionary or a thesaurus, I would correct my mistakes. This is about episode 21 when we were talking about the annoyance of dealing with traffic.
So I'm in a situation where I have to deal with rush hour for the first time in my life in 35 years. And so 5 days a week, I run into the situation that Kendall had mentioned where I get off of my exit and I'm in a lane that will inevitably end. It's going to be maybe a mile from now. It's a between exit lane, and the purpose is to merge into the actual highway. And I'll turn my left turn signal on, and I'll watch people very politely, and I'll smile and I'll wave with that gentle Midwestern wave. Hey, can I hop in there, sort of thing? And I'll watch people for 3, 4, 5 minutes, as if I can pull into a 2-foot space. They're concerned, so they move forward from 2 feet between cars to 1 foot. And so now I can't get in. So what ends up happening in any way is 5 minutes into this, I end up flying down that lane in front of all those idiots that wouldn't let me in anyway. So now I'm the bad guy. I don't want to be this person, but you're making me.
Those idiots.
I don't want to be this person, but you're making me.
We have names, Kester.
Yeah. So if any of those
and
people...
mine is Paul Heyman.
Stop doing that. Nobody's watching WWE but us and Brad now. And Mike Steyer. Shout out.
So what Jeremy's describing, if they had done what I do, which is drive in between 2 lanes, he wouldn't have been able to shoot down the expiring lane at a rapid pace and jump over at the last minute. But I get what you're saying, because a lot of people do it on purpose. They'll drive, they'll try to shimmy in. But if you're, I don't know what to say other than if you're making an effort well before the lane ends.
Yes.
Most reasonable people should be willing to let you over, understanding that,
exactly.
Hey, that's like a half a mile away and I'm trying all the way back here to get over and merge nicely. The fact that they're not, Jeremy, just means everyone headed in your direction is probably not a nice person. So.
Yeah, that is it. That I appreciate the passion.
Yeah,
it's not exactly the same thing that I was describing. It's very similar.
You were talking about intersections, and I think Dylan was actually the one talking about merging lanes. But anyway.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, mine was like turning from an intersection and then an immediate merge.
And I was talking about blocking people who try to get to the very end of the merge lane.
Yeah.
Well after multiple signs and blocking those people from cutting in at the last minute because that's annoying.
I try to actually
accidents.
be judicious about it. Like I will be looking in my rearview mirror. That's a weird word. Rear view is also a weird word. I don't like putting those words together. Rear view mirror. Anyway,
it's a lot of hard EI
I don't
sounds.
like it. I don't like it. Anyway, my backwards looking piece of glass that's on the side of my car.
Yeah.
I will look in there and I would like be watching cars and be like, all right, is he making an attempt back there? If he's making an attempt back there, I'll let him in when he gets up here. And so I do that. But yeah, no, I don't know. I don't want to call myself a gracious driver because I do tend to be very nice, except when there's situations that I feel like someone's trying to get one over everyone else.
That's what I was just getting ready to say.
That's why I can't call myself gracious because the term grace means you're giving something that's undeserved. And if I were a gracious driver, then I wouldn't care. Even if they were a jerk, I would let them in. And that is a me problem. There is a me problem in there. I recognize that there's a me problem in there.
I'm with you. I'm nice to a point. If you're trying to get in way far back, so if I'm in that right lane and you're trying to merge and you're trying to do it early, it's usually like a 1-for-1. Yeah, most people will do a staggered 1-for-1. It's like, okay, here I'm good letting you in. If we're further down, your lane is really merging and you've zoomed up to try to get in, I'm like, you're about to learn a lesson today.
I bet Amy's a gracious driver.
She is much more gracious.
Well, there it is.
She saved a life, by the way.
Saving lives and a gracious driver.
Holy smoke.
I am married to a lifesaver.
Yep. Wow. If you don't know that reference, you didn't listen to the previous episode.
And we're angry at you for just a little bit.
Go ahead
until you listen.
Pause this, go back and listen to all of that, and then come back.
And then call us and apologize.
Yep.
And then come back and listen to this one.
Yeah, naturally.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the other alternative solutions would have been. Seems like the only one. Anyways.
We had 2 Jeremy voicemails, so we'll listen to the second one now. And this one is in reference to, I believe it's in reference to when we were talking about college athletes and the NCAA. That was episode 22.
This is more of a question than a hard and fast statement on the staying in college a little bit longer, better life experience, that sort of thing. My question is, isn't it the case that if you blow your knee out in college, you stay one more year and you blow your knee out, you may be done forever? Whereas if you get to the NFL and you get drafted, now you're an investment, and they'll rebuild that sucker from scratch. So to me, that would be one of the concerns I would have is getting injured that last year and missing out on that payday for the rest of your life and that experience for the rest of your life. So that'd be my kind of question to you guys, what your thoughts on that are.
I think he's in traffic when he's leaving that voicemail, by the way. I heard cars going by.
Look, that's going to be a gamble. I mean, it's a legitimate question, but that's going to be the gamble that everyone takes no matter what. And you have an example of somebody like Greg Oden, who played basketball at Ohio State, who left Ohio State, went to the NBA, got hurt right away, and never ended up playing. And there was never an investment to be made to get him back to full health because they couldn't. I have no doubt that they tried. So, yes, he took the payday. But yeah, that's always a gamble. And ultimately, I think that's going to be heavily a case-by-case basis because some parents, between university insurance or a parent's insurance for some of the players, the parents might talk to the kid, or the kid might have an opinion that finishing school is more important and potentially missing out than it is, to jump to the NFL and hope to collect the paycheck. I think that's just heavily case by case.
Case by case, yeah. And which is why, I have never and won't begrudge any athlete for leaving as soon as they can to go next level. If it were my kid, that's probably what I would tell them to do. Yeah. If they were to ask me what my opinion, if they had other, because the fact is, you can go back to school. Like you can,
Right.
like if it's about the degree, that's fine. Go back and get the degree. But
yeah, Tressel, Coach Tressel always said, among with probably alongside every other coach in college, if you can go in the first or second round, you should probably go. You can always come back and finish. Mm-hmm. And so he would tell everyone that if you're going to be later than that, then maybe hold off and see. Staying another year and developing more might be what helps you get up to a bigger payday, finish your degree, all of that kind of stuff. So interesting that we had that voicemail and brought it up because we did have some news. Now a little bit old. We had Brad. We didn't want to, hash that out last episode. But interesting. We've had some updates since. So we talked a little while back about how California had passed a law to let players get paid for their image and likeness. Mm-hmm. And now we've had the NCAA say basically, we're going to do that. We have no idea what that looks like. We're going to have to figure it out. We've got to still treat these kids as students, but we've got to figure out a way to make this fair. Yeah. And so
we did it.
We did it. We single-handedly, we solved the NCAA's
if you are a college athlete out there listening,
amateurism.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. It's us. And way more important than me caring about those kids is a new NCAA football game will hopefully be on the horizon. I'm kidding. But that might be a nice byproduct that literally all of social media was talking about after the NCAA announced that.
Yeah.
Now, with that said, we know nothing. Nothing has been written down. All the NCAA has said at this point is we're going to have to figure something out. That will probably take a long time, and that doesn't guarantee that a game's coming, and that doesn't guarantee that all the rules will be fixed. But it does mean that they realize that they have to sort of roll with this one.
Right.
Which I think is, for all of us, we agreed, is the direction it should go.
Yeah, because it becomes if they didn't, a lot of people were waiting to see, like, okay, so now the NCAA is going to take on the state of California.
Right.
But the reality there is that it's not just California. It was quickly going to be Ohio. And then as soon as it was Ohio, it was going to be Florida and the SEC and everywhere else, because then it becomes a recruiting problem for universities in these states if they're not one of the states. So the only recourse that the NCAA would have would be to kick them out of the NCAA,
which is dumb.
Which the NCAA would not do.
Can't do. Now we made it very clear last time. I've even had some conversations about this since our last discussion. This does not mean the school is paying the players. I think a lot of people don't understand. There's a lot of confusion. The school's not handing cash over to a student. This is really what this boils down to is if any other student that wasn't part of an NCAA sport wanted to go sign their autograph or be in a commercial or get paid to be in an ad or get paid to do anything that any other student could do, all those kids could do it, but the athletes couldn't. And that's all it is. If a kid, a football player wants to go sign autographs and get paid to do it, he can now. The cash isn't coming from the school. That's not how this works. And so does that mean that there's going to still be some disparity? Is Idaho going to have the same amount of money going to players to show up and sign autographs and be in a commercial? No, as Ohio State. No, it's not going to happen.
Right.
But that disparity was going to be there anyway.
Exactly. That disparity was already going to be there. It's certainly worth having those discussions because that disparity will get larger. And in a situation where that disparity had been shrinking as far as, if you were a MAC school, when we were growing up, they were entirely irrelevant to the NFL, or so we thought.
Yeah.
And then now all of a sudden, if you can be second string at Ohio State or you can go start at Bowling Green, it made sense for you to leave Ohio State and go start at Bowling Green. Mm-hmm. Is what that has meant as of late. But now that kind of thing is likely going to go back to the way it was, because now it's just you can find ways to get yourself paid if you're at Ohio State.
Yeah, and yes and no, and there's money and rich alumni for every school, even the small ones, and so. Is there as many opportunities?
That money would still be a violation. as far from what we're told.
Yeah,
Because that's
yeah.
not money off of your likeness. That's still money coming from boosters and alumni.
Well, what I mean is, if I'm a rich alumni near the University of Idaho and I own a car dealership and I want to pay a kid to be in my commercial,
there you go. Yeah.
you know, there's rich alumni.
I
There's
was gonna
wealthy.
say, like,
there's wealthy alum. I'm not talking about handing cash over.
Yeah.
I mean,
the problems of the free cars and that kind of thing.
right. Yeah, I'm not talking about that. But I mean, there's wealthy alumni that own businesses and could pay these kids to show up to signings and what everywhere. And what you're describing, though, the rise, the little bit more parity, because at the same time, you still have the same 5 to 10 blue bloods competing for the national championship every year.
Right.
So we're not talking about national titles, but the rise of the internet has given all these programs, they've put them in the limelight for kids to watch these MAC games through the week on ESPN, ESPNU streaming. You know, everyone wants a piece of showing college football games on their network or streaming platform. You can go on YouTube and watch, you know, live streams of some of these games, whether you're supposed to or not. So
Right.
more kids get to see more of these schools, and it makes it a little easier when it's not just, you know, Alabama, USC, Texas, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Michigan on TV.
Yeah.
Every school's on TV now. Every single one of them. So it's interesting. I mean, I can't wait to see what the NCAA decides. Like I said, there was a whole rush of social media commentary on bring the games back.
the games back.
That's what I was gonna say,
Down
like-
to Kirk Herbstreit tweeting at EA Sports, who makes the NCAA
Yeah.
football video games. Hey, what do we got to do to get this rolling?
ESPN, one of the first things that they shared within hours of this announcement coming down was, could there be another NCAA video game? Like, the fact that many people
Yeah.
are aware that is one of the possible ripple effects of this means that EA is going to be pressured to do it, and
Yeah.
they'll make it happen.
Yeah,
Sure.
you've got to think that EA was immediately on the phone with some NCAA representatives going, all right, how quickly can you hammer out the part of the rules where we can make a game?
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
and we'll figure out the money and paying the colleges and stuff later.
I would venture a guess that there's a small team of people already working on.
Oh, of course.
Of
course.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that go so far as to saying they've been making them and adding features and building a game this whole time and just porting it to new consoles and just behind the scenes a team. I don't know if I'd go that far, but I think as soon as that news dropped,
All you're doing from Madden to college is changing the colors and the logos. I mean, really, it's the same animations.
Well,
and-
you got to change more than that. in order to get
there's
people to buy it.
Stadium.
there's game engines. They play a little bit differently if you're a football video game savant, but for they could in theory just reskin a Madden game.
Yeah,
And-
there's artifacts that exist, is what I'm saying, that you
Yeah.
would be able to port over
yeah,
to the
no, that is-
NCAA.
so
I didn't mean to poo-poo your point.
Don't
Yeah.
poo-poo my point.
It's a good point.
it's not poo on anything.
I know art stuff. No, that's exciting. How jacked are you?
I'm very excited. I fully expect that I'm going to have to wait. I think realistically, like the games used to come out summer, I think July or so,
Yeah.
July to August. I would not expect anything sooner than probably summer of 2021. Personally, because NCAA's got to hash it out. Now, EA can be working on it behind the scenes the whole time, so literally ready to drop the game. They're probably having dialogue with the NCAA behind the scenes about, hey, are you guys going to figure this out so we can make this? Or I'm sure that's all happening. But yeah, summer 2021 feels pretty realistic. Let's see if I'm calling the shot. Let's see if I'm right in a couple of years. So
you go.
episode 800 or whatever we're on by then. So
That'd be a lot of episodes a year.
probably not that many, but I picked a number. Let's go with it.
Okay, well, we got to get to 800 now, and we have
By 2020, summer of 2021.
we have a year and a half to do it.
I think it's time we had a conversation.
We've made a problem. We've made a promise.
That's funny.
So that's the NCAA. So very timely, Jeremy. Thanks for sharing that so we could discuss it and bring up the NCAA stuff again.
Yeah, that was fun.
Well, let me try to answer Jeremy's question. So, when I was approached by multiple professional teams at the end of I don't know what I'm saying. No, that never happened. That's a good question. I don't weigh in on sports ball. Apparently, Dylan's leaving.
Bye, Dylan.
What are you gonna go do?
Don't knock the camera.
Hey, Dylan.
You could have taken your microphone with you.
Is it snowing outside?
No, I'm recording audio in there anyway.
Is this camera set up?
Gonna cut all of this.
Is the camera set up in there? What else is new, man? We're not cutting anything. We're real.
We're
People
real.
want authentic and
People
genuine.
want authentic and genuine.
This is us. They need to see some of the behind the scenes.
What else is new? I think I
Updated your EDC. That's huge.
I updated my EDC.
Your wife saved a
My
life
wife saved a life
last week.
What was it? Where'd it go?
You got any new games, mobile games you've been playing?
I don't.
I started Mario Kart.
Did you know?
Yeah, that's really addicting. Were you a Mario Kart guy?
I was. So I was never a huge N64 Mario Kart guy, but no, Super Nintendo, yeah, for sure. Countless hours with my sister sitting on the floor playing.
Oh yeah.
And oddly enough, my brother-in-law is still he's emulator on the computer and part of national rankings
Of Super Nintendo?
of Mario Kart, Super Nintendo Mario Kart.
Wow. Who's his character?
I don't know who his character is,
Okay.
but
We're talking about the new Mario Kart on mobile. Have you played?
Oh, interesting.
Have you played it?
I downloaded it and I played for like 30 seconds. I was probably busy and switched to doing something else, just barely.
I'm going to, and I'm probably going to get addicted to it. But I have just do you guys? Maybe this is just me, but if I like, I have a reward for myself that's just kind of weird. But like, if I hit like say I want to get to a point where I'm looking for a low score in a golf tournament of 30 under par. And because I've been hovering around 25. And then like one day I hit 30 and I'm like way excited, but it's just like me in the bathroom by myself. And so like I screenshot the score just so that I have it. And then sometimes I'll like send it to my wife and be like, look what I did.
Because there's no way you can explain the context and the amount of hours that have gone into you achieving this. And
Right.
like nobody would understand.
And so what it does to me is like, cause then I'll go back and every so often I have to go through and I just start deleting photos off my phone. And I come across those and I have like a couple different kinds of reactions that come up. One is, why I sucked back then. That was a good score because I'm so much better now. And another one is like is what kind of what you had just said, what we were just talking about. And that like this is lonely. I wasted a lot of time.
Kind of playing it fast and loose with the word achievement.
I put a lot of mental effort into getting that score, and I'm the only one who enjoyed it.
Hey, but you know what? It means something to you. And that's all that should matter.
Hey,
You know?
I'm sure I'm not the only one that has gone to their spouse and said, I'm going to tell you something that I know you won't care about, but I just need to tell somebody.
Yeah.
So just smile and nod through this story.
So, but that's an example that I do have I think it's like 32 under par in a tournament now in my golf game, and I'm pretty sure I have a photo of in my.
That's okay. Golf Clash or Golf Kings?
This one is.
I thought you were going to get back into Golf Clash.
Well, not until I conquer what I'm doing now.
Okay, well.
It might be Golf Rival is what I'm doing.
Golf
now.
Rival, which is very close to Golf Clash.
It is,
It's
and
the same game.
It is kind of inferior. It is a different kind of gameplay
With lower quality animation.
Lower quality everything, but I don't know. But still,
But you did it.
But I did it, and I'm into it, and so like I still have a goal. I want to get to a point where like I can afford to upgrade all of my clubs, even if I'm not using them. And then once I get to that point, then everything moves so slowly. So I don't want everything to be max upgraded because the game moves way too slowly before I get to that point.
Right.
I want to get a point where I can afford everything that's available to me right now. And then when that happens, then I end up getting bored with the game and I move on.
Just so funny. Are you still playing Dominations?
Yes.
Are you like the master of Dominations?
No. There are a lot of people who put lot more money into that than I have.
How many people are in your clan? Is it maxed out?
No. I pretty consistently would kick people out who wouldn't log on in a long time. And just over time, not as many people join as you've kicked out. And so that's probably half full, something like that.
Nice.
Which I'm fine with. You know, we have enough to do. And the Dominations has a World War format where it's like a clan battle, like a lot of things do.
Yeah.
We have enough to do World Wars, so I'm good with it.
Man, that's
I've played it a lot.
I feel like that's another thing that like I think hooks people into these games are having those groups that you can form.
Yeah.
And so like when I was playing what was the Star Wars one, Galaxy of Heroes, or is that it?
Yeah.
When I was playing that one, like, and I got good enough that I wouldn't feel ashamed by joining a guild.
Right.
Like I became a part of a guild, and like there was a core group of us that were that were like way into it. And we weren't good enough of a guild that I think any of us were spending actual money. There might have been a couple that were spending actual cash on the game. I wasn't. But no, that was one of the things. Is like, if you don't log in and hit your tasks every day, we will kick you out. And it was like we had a rule that if you went like 2 days in a row or 4 days in a row or something like that without hitting your tasks, you were getting booted. And so like, and I was part of that. That was like, we're trying to form a good guild. And so as long as there's people who are hitting all their tasks who want to come in, we want to let them in and let the chaff, whatever, burn. And then there was like, but then like the way I do games is like, I was way into it. Okay, now I've accomplished and I'm where I think I probably should be. And now the gameplay is just going to slow down way much. I'm not going to earn achievements with any kind of rewarding speed. And so it's just like, so I went from one day of being like militant, hit your goals, I'm doing it, to the next day be like, oh, I deleted the game. And so I sometimes think about that, Gil, and they're like, what happened to that guy?
Yeah, I run my clan in Dominations, and I use that pretty loosely. I'm not that strict.
Yeah.
So it's like, as long as you're log in once every 4 or 5 days, it's totally fine. If it's going to be longer, just throw into the chat, hey, I'm going on vacation for a few weeks. Like, I won't kick somebody out. So I'm pretty laid back. But I also get a lot. I'm almost the opposite of how you play games. Like, I get a lot of joy out of, I experience enough stress that I go into a game and I want it to often be easy.
There you go. Yeah.
So like, I'm fine playing a dynasty mode on NCAA football on easy and winning, 73-14.
No, that would feel wrong to me.
And that's totally fine. And my running back
you were going to finish it.
My running back has 4,000 yards on the season, and my quarterback ran for 2,000 and threw for 3,000. I don't care. I want to go in and just, it's not that I don't ever enjoy difficulty in games, but there's enough other actual real life difficulty that sometimes just going in and having an easy, fun, laid back experience is fine.
Do you ever think of how funny it would be to explain to our wives or our bosses or our other people who don't understand gaming and go, you didn't understand. To 50 people online, I'm a really big deal. Like, you're the guild leader of it can be up to 50 in Dominations.
Yeah, I think so.
Like, people who invest, I got a buddy who, like, by day, his profession, very, like, white collar, like, well-known in the community, like, profession. And then he's in this game world. He's, like, a master troll, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm making it up so that I don't reveal the person. But wouldn't it be funny to like try to explain, or like if that other little mini world that you're the king of, you presented that to certain people.
Well, and that's why, like, in my head while I'm talking about like how much time I've spent on a couple of these games, like it's like I know that there are people who are going to be judging me right now. But I'm okay with that. I'm not. Yeah. Anyway, I still have a life outside of mobile gaming. It's just something I
don't actually get any sense of self-importance from that type of thing. So I would never describe it to another person as I'm a big deal.
I didn't even mean it like that. That was more for comedic value, but just like that this whole other little subculture world exists.
Exactly.
In which you're the king of the raft.
There's probably been elements of that. So like in World Wars, you have a certain amount of time to attack, and trying to explain to my wife, hey, I'm getting down to the wire. I've got to go in to the benefit of the whole group of people I play with and do the thing, because I know it's just a game, but it's not just me playing against the computer. This is other people relying on other people to accomplish a common goal.
Yeah, those
I know
situations pop up.
I know it's a game, but it's like, really, you need to check it right now? I'm like, well, there's only an hour left in the World War, and I've got to get both attacks in, and there's time. I got to attack and rebuild my forces, and then attack again, and that's good. I guess so. I gotta give me 3 minutes.
I've had to do that too, where you have to give enough context to explain, like, okay, does anybody need me for the next 15 minutes? Because I'm about to start something, and it was like Golf Clash or something.
Yeah,
I'm spending all these coins to enter this tournament.
Yeah,
and I've worked really hard to get this much in-game currency. So if I do this and somebody needs me, we've wasted, how many bathroom breaks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I ever give my wife a very specific amount of time that it will take for me to get to a task that she asked me to do, I think she assumes that I need 2 minutes and 45 seconds, and then I'll go do that thing. Are you in a battle? Yeah. That's how much time is left for me to finish this attack.
That is funny. And one thing that like people I don't think about until like those moments that it happens is like I use my phone to watch NFL football.
Yeah.
And then the gaming stuff and like that live gaming stuff where it's, like Golf Clash or whatever, it's like you can't leave. You can't be texting other people. And so even when it's the other person's
or
turn,
someone will text you and you're like flipping the alert.
Exactly. You're trying to flip the alert away. And so it's like, sometimes it's like my wife is texting me and it's like I'm watching a football game on my phone. And so it's like I can't watch it and text it. And like we're on the 5-yard line right now. Yeah. And so
she's saving a life over there.
And she's over there like, call 911.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm doing your fingers make the U shape and wrap around the edges of the phone.
Yeah.
Both hands. That's where I very quickly with one hand tap my Apple Watch and talk to text and then do the response.
I need to think of that.
And if you only had a phone next to you where you could like act this out.
Well, I'm forgetting we have a camera, so I can do this and then quickly tap it and go, yeah, I'll do the da 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 da.
Nice.
And then I do the thing, and then it sends. And the thing I love about
you are a master of technology,
specifically sending a text on the Apple Watch versus a phone. If you use Siri to send a text on the Apple Watch, it doesn't ask you to confirm; it just sends it. Versus the phone, and it goes, is this the message you want to send? And then you've got to hit yes, and it distracts the screen. Way better. That's how you got to do it.
Wow. Props.
See, the thing, like I have an Apple Watch and a phone, and I mean, I'm not wearing it right now because I actually there's an allergic reaction, I think, kind of problem that I've had. But anyway.
Is it contagious or?
Allergic reactions are not contagious. Oh. No.
Yeah.
Anyway. But I don't tinker with it. I think to the extent that you do.
Yeah.
Figure that, and I feel like I tinker a lot.
Yeah.
Try to figure things out. But.
To the point I use it about as much as I feel like I should. Like, so to the ping your watch, if I set it down, you have kids, you set your phone down somewhere, you forget where you set it, you can do the ping your watch and it'll make the noise.
Right.
Also to set timers. So our washer and dryer in the basement, I'll go downstairs, throw stuff in on my watch, say, hey Siri, set a 55-minute timer. I fully expected one of our devices to go off.
I know.
Set a 55-minute timer, and I do it on my watch specifically because I know I might set my phone down somewhere, but my watch will go off. And now my daughter, who's 21 months old, something like that, will hold her wrist up to her mouth and go, "Hey Siri, baby shark."
Yeah.
Hey Siri, timer, and she knows to like talk to her wrist.
Yeah.
That was not an intended consequence of using the watch, but we do use it quite a bit.
We've had those things for a while. Somehow my kids had it in their head that Siri was a policeman, and so they would, instead of saying "Hey Siri," they would be like "Policeman."
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. She also knows to hold the Apple TV remote with mic up to her mouth and say "Baby Shark" or say whatever she wants to watch. So we've done that enough times.
Yeah,
So cute.
She is, but I'm biased, so
I kind of like her too.
she's pretty adorable. Kendall, you can meet her sometime.
I would like to. We should do like a holiday thing or something.
That's a
Our
great
family.
idea.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
We'll give away stickers to anyone. Or from the middle stickers is ours.
Speaking of kids and from the middle, I shared this already with you guys in the group chat that we have, the group text that we have. But long story long, Lily got one of our hand-me-down phones, which is essentially now, it doesn't have cellular. It's essentially now just an iPod or whatever.
Right.
So she plays games on it, and she has a calendar, and she uses it for her alarm and blah, blah, blah. And obviously she knows we do this, and we go and record and whatever. And So because we try to keep it G-rated, like and family friendly.
G-rated. Sorry, I have to do that when I hear G-rated.
Yeah, so she has started to listen. Well, she has a free period in class. She's 12. She has a free period where she can do whatever she wants. So they can play on their phones, they can get out their computer and watch YouTube videos, whatever they want to do. And so she started listening to the podcast. And then she starts messaging me real time as she listens, like the things that stick out to her that she starts laughing at.
Okay.
So the episode that I did on overthinking, she's like, oh my gosh, I get all of my overthinking from you. And I'm like, I feel like I owe you an apology. And she's like, it's okay, I still love you. And it was just this really bizarre, like I'm having a thoughtful, funny, intelligent conversation with the little kid that used to do those little, like, I still see her like that.
Right.
But now I'm texting her about my podcast.
Right.
And she's got her friends listening. So Brad, who was on last week, his daughter Aubrey has started to listen. And so shout out to Lily and Aubrey.
Yeah.
But
I was walking around, like they were just like bouncing around the church one day, those two, and like they walked by me, and Lily was just like, "We're listening to your podcast."
Oh, it's so like surreal. Well, they wanted to hear the Mr. Furshaw episodes, because I mean that was Lily's teacher, and so she kind of that's why I promoted it to her. I'm like, you don't. So then she goes like, "No, I want to listen." I'm like, "Wait, are you listening because you think I want you to listen? Or are you listening?" She's like, "I really like it." I'm like, "I'm just overthinking." So anyway, it was just really bizarro world to be like texting her about the stuff that we talk about on the podcast. But those Furshaw episodes were great, by the way.
It's real good.
They were fun.
And Brad wanted to say it since we had back-to-back guests. He's like, really? You're going to have me on after Furshaw? The guy who I listened to for 2 episodes, and I just want to say, Captain, my captain. Like, I'll follow you anywhere, and you're going to have me on to talk about Galaxy's Edge. I'm like, dude. Each episode is what it is. It's all good. Don't compare.
Certainly don't overanalyze.
So I made the
right. Yeah.
I made the joke for him since he couldn't or forgot to rather last week. So yeah, that's funny.
That's wild, man. Just texting Lily.
I remember the very first time that I had a conversation with her, and I believe it was on the way home from church. It might not have been. But she was asking like deep theological questions. Yeah. And they were really good, thoughtful, like stuff that that there is no answer to. And I remember like having this out of body experience where I'm like, because I love I love when my kids are little babies, but there's something about being able to converse with them and give and take, and you're like trying to impart some wisdom and some thought and some thought process and how to get through life and function and virtues and treat people right, and you still see them, right? You made the quote or brought up when we were talking to Mr. Furshaw about like how parents view their kids differently, moms and dads.
Yeah, it was something to the effect of moms tend to view their kids how they were at a young age, where dads tend to view their kids where they are now. Yeah. Right. Obviously, nobody jumped down my throat on that one. I understand that can be flipped or not at all true. Right. But as a general thing, moms tend to see their kids as little babies and toddlers. Yeah. Well,
I thought about it slightly differently, which is that Sherry is often excited about the phase that our kids are about to enter.
Yeah.
And I'm usually lamenting the phase that they just passed. Mm-hmm. And I remember we used to play hide and seek at Grandma Connor's house. And this is so crazy. I thought about this. I was talking to Brad about it, actually, and it tied to Disney and all that. Because he was saying how even Aubrey had a moment where he saw her trying to sort through I want to be excited about this magical place, but I feel like I'm supposed to think that it's too infantile.
Yeah. Mm.
And he saw her wrestling with I want to be excited, but like, is it okay to still be excited?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh. And anyway, so when we would play hide and seek at Grandma Connor's, I remember I was 5, 6, 7, and I couldn't fit in the place that I used to hide. Mm. Remember that lamp, that touch lamp where it had 3
Yep.
And underneath, they kept the National Geographic magazines.
Yep.
I used to hide in there.
Yeah.
Well, I got to a point where I was just too big of a kid.
Yeah.
I was not a big kid. I was growing up, and I couldn't fit in there anymore. And I cried. I cried that I contemplated my aging in that moment. I was like, how crazy is that? But anyway, it's crazy with your kids where you're just like, I'm lamenting the phase that they just passed. But in those moments, it's these little exciting phases where you see the new benefits of the new phase.
Yeah.
And that you're having this like young adult conversation. And
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, that's one of the things where it's like obviously I want to experience all the stuff in between, but like I can't wait to be able to have sort of like peer-to-peer discussions with my kids. Like I feel like that would be so cool to do. I definitely would not do that at the expense of missing everything in between.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
But I very much like what Dylan said, seeing your kids as the age that they are now. So I've right now I have 2 4-year-olds and a 5-year-old, so I haven't experienced anything close to that peer-to-peer kind of relationship yet. But still, even as they grow up, and I tell like new fathers this all the time, that like even though they're 5, I keep becoming amazed at the things that they are learning daily, and like they are becoming more and more relatable, and I've enjoyed all of the previous phases, but the current phases, like I can connect to them more and better. And honestly, like right now today, like the age and stage that my kids are, they are at the age and stage that I've enjoyed them the most. And so it's like I'm not even, one day I'm sure it'll change, but I'm not even like I'm one who am not lamenting previous stages being over. I'm wrapped up in how much I love what the current stage is doing, and then the experiences I get to have with them, and it just keeps getting closer and closer relationship I have with them, and better. And so that's very much where I am.
Something that my stepmom is continually telling me, and it applies to multiple aspects of life, but it's show up where your feet are.
Yeah.
Show up where your feet are. Be present in each moment. And I can jump ditches. So my personality tends to also be a grass is greener. What's going on over there? Ooh, excitement. Like squirrel. Right. So I'm either looking at future or I'm lamenting past.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, just show up where your feet are. And so that's something that I've really been working on. But hey, all you crazy Ayla and Hubble kids, we love you. And so this podcast will surely live in the annals of time and be a legacy for generations to come.
The what of time?
Annals? Annals?
That's what I was
Annals? Don't listen to this podcast anymore, guys.
of time.
No, but we love you, and you make us better. And so there's just a little bit of sappy for you in episode 27. How's that Fresca?
It is citrusy.
Awesome.
And delicious. I want to shake the person's hand who invented Fresca. It is my favorite of the light-colored sodas. So that's that. And one of the few where there is no sugared version. Fresca is just Fresca. There's no such thing as Diet Fresca. It's just Fresca is diet. That's what it is.
I didn't know that.
There is not. So if you were to make another Fresca, you would have to call it Undiet, because the original Fresca is diet.
You just add sugar.
And then
it's undiet.
You'd have to add sugar to it, make it undiet. Yeah.
So I had this moment. My wife and I were shopping at Costco, and I don't know if you guys relate to this all. It's a little bit of the pet peeves thing.
Oh, yay.
But
I'm so excited.
So we're walking through, and the Costco that we go to, I'm sure they're all busy, but the one that we're at is also very busy this day. And this can happen anywhere. It just happened to be at Costco. And so as we're walking in, it happens a lot where you walk into a store And if you're following a similar cadence to looking through the aisles and grabbing things, you keep seeing the same person around you as you work your way through the store, right?
Okay.
It's not uncommon to have almost be like you're following each other back and forth. And then tie in, there was the old Seinfeld episode, like the sidler, the person who's always like right up on him. So I had one of those moments where we happened to walk in near this lady, who I'm sure is lovely, but wasn't my experience that day. That she was like right behind us with her cart. So Costco, huge carts, very busy, not the biggest aisles. And she was just right, like almost cart on my heels kind of thing.
Yeah.
And somehow she kept managing to turn the cart in a way that her body was right behind mine at every given moment that we would stop to look at anything. And after moving through 4, 5, 6 aisles like this across 10 minutes, I'm getting close to like snapping. And I'm sure she had no idea that this was even going on.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you've ever, I literally, at one point, I just look at Bree and I'm like, just do the stop gesture with my hand. Like, just stop. We're not moving for 2 minutes to let this lady get by me because I'm going to freak out. She's so close. I'm going to freak out. And so we literally just sat in the aisle staring at each other. Bree didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
You know, she's just staring at me. I'm like, and it's just this buildup of tension that this lady, I had to put so much distance between me and her because she didn't realize, I'm sure, she was causing this level of like tension.
I wish I could have seen your face when you looked at Bree and did the just wait a minute.
Just wait. And I think in the moment I probably didn't use a nice word. I said, I'm about to lose my stuff. This lady's got to get by me. And I just, because it was driving me crazy. Have you ever maybe like your kids have been pushing a cart behind you and they keep hitting your heels or something like that? It felt like that without the physical contact. I was just like, you one more time. And I'm going to, if I turn around and your nose is 8 inches from my nose again, I'm going to snap. And so I don't know what it was. Maybe that day, sometimes if you're already in a busy store, that just, it amps up that sort of like frustration level a little bit, I guess. But it was just one of those moments where I'm sure for a minute, Bree's like, Dylan's having a breakdown.
And she finally passed?
And she finally passed, and I made sure we waited long enough and that I didn't see her again the rest of our trip to Costco. But we literally just had to stop in the aisle for, it felt like longer, but probably 2 or 3 minutes. And I explained, I'm like, this lady, she's got to go. She's got to get around me because she's driving me nuts. So anyways,
I wish people did what you did in the left lane of traffic.
Yeah, just
recognize that, hey, maybe they want to get around me or maybe they're in a little bit of a hurry. So,
yeah,
not that I'm saying you were going slow, but
right.
Somebody's riding your.
We've talked about that. I try to get out of the aisleway. So, it's one of those things where I'm
spatial awareness.
I'm very aware of that. And so if I think somebody's trying to pass or whatever, I'll say, hey, we need to move the cart over. Hey, somebody's trying to get around us.
Yeah.
I'm always trying to kind of manage traffic, so to speak, in a situation like that where I'm just, but this lady was having none of it. She didn't want me to manage her traffic. She just wanted to be.
She was just shopping at Costco.
She had no idea.
Yeah.
She almost made me flip my lid. It was.
All she wanted was 5 gallons of pickles.
Yeah, apparently.
That's what was
and
on
to
her
look
mind.
at every single thing that I was looking at.
Yeah, well,
she likes your style.
You should be flattered.
Yeah, man.
And your cologne, apparently.
Jeez.
I wanted to be all up on your biddenness.
Yeah.
Our grocery store thing is that when Sherry and I do shop together, and she wishes that I would shop with her more often. But as we know, men are hunters and women can. Okay. Men are often hunters and often women are gatherers. Guys go in, get what we need, out. Why waste time? Gatherers want to go through every aisle and see what's on sale and compare prices. And did you even know that at Kroger you can compare what you're paying per ounce of that thing? So it's priced by...
I do that. I
didn't even know that was a thing.
I hate aimlessly shopping, but no, I totally do that. Like when I'm there to buy butter, I don't just grab one. I either I do the appropriate.
It's a quick
research.
look. Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't.
They're
take long.
beside each other.
They do the math for you.
Brand
is
A,
my
brand
point.
B.
Yeah.
This one's okay. I'll grab that one.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, but when we do go, I'm the cart pusher and Sherry's leading because I don't know what she wants to stop at.
Right.
And so we'll be going at a steady clip and she'll go, oh. And I'm always hitting her heels because she's going, oh, I didn't hold. I'm sorry. And she knows that I'm
Yeah.
right. I follow too closely. Apparently.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Versus, we were recently, Bree and Finn and I, we were recently visiting Mom. Our mom has a retail boutique, and there's a popular restaurant across the street. So I'm waiting in line. I go ahead. They're hanging out at the store. I go ahead, and I'll get in line.
Shout out to Kelly's Boutique in Berlin, Ohio.
Berlin, Ohio. Yep.
Across from Boyd and Worthman's.
So we're in line to get food, and these two ladies are in front of me, also in line, obviously. So I'm not trying to listen. I'm playing on my phone, but it's a small town. Cell service is bad. Can't do anything because there's a million tourists in town. So I'm trying to play on my phone and not listen to their conversation. But we're all trying to get in and get food, and all of a sudden I just catch something about just vomiting and pooping everywhere. And so, of course, my ears unfortunately perk up because I can't help but overhear this disgusting thing that's happening in conversation ahead of me. Only to fortunately finally hear that it's not some poor human that's having all these issues. It's their pet.
Yeah.
Still not sure why.
Their fur baby.
Still not sure why 2 minutes before we walk in and sit down is the right time to talk about that. But it happened. And then they went on to talk about some restaurant experience. About how everything looked terrible, and everything they looked at, they just wanted to vomit just looking at it. And it was, they couldn't believe that they won't ever eat. And I just don't understand why it's so interesting, the conversations people have and when they choose to have them. And I don't know the moral of the story there other than probably at least just don't do that. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's fair, but like really gross stories when you're in line for food. It's always been the thing where you're sitting and eating with somebody and they're like, this is terrible, try it. And you're like, no, you literally just said it was terrible. I am not going to try it.
I would actually.
Yeah, I'm not that person. That doesn't make sense to me, but I don't know. People are funny.
Speaking of people and food things, I was on a flight and I love that we have this podcast because it makes me see the world differently. Mm-hmm. Because when things are going down, I'm like, oh, we can use this on the podcast, whether it's funny or serious or whatever. And I'm not going to, it doesn't matter how, but first class, to bump up to first class on this flight was only $47. Yeah. And I was going to check 2 bags anyway. And so it made sense to just pay for the upgraded ticket and get those bags free and basically save money. Anyways, I don't ever fly first class, but this time I did. And so we're in first class, and the lady is bringing the basket of snacks while the other people are still being seated, or we're getting ready to take off. And a guy in first class, when she brings around the basket of snacks, goes, do you have popcorn? Is that popcorn? And no exaggeration, here's exactly what she said. I don't know. I just take them out of the bag and hand them to you. I'm sorry. I don't.
You couldn't like...
Because they're all you see is labels of bags.
Right.
And he's going, do you have popcorn? She's like, I don't know. I take the plastic off and I hand them to you. I'm sorry.
She's had a bad day.
Like,
yeah.
Whoa. And it was like, that's funny. Funny enough that I immediately grabbed my phone and started writing it down.
That's funny because your one job is to be polite at stuff like that.
And it's first class. So you'd think, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a little extra level of service here. The fact that these people are even allowed to have snacks right now, all of the other poor saps where I'm usually seated,
right,
don't get those until halfway through. Anyway, I just thought that was funny. I don't know. I just take the plastic off and hand them to you. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, somebody is dealing with
and
all
she
kinds
looked at me like, can't believe, like this guy.
Can you believe this guy?
Asking me if we have popcorn.
Whoa.
What a...
There's the funny thing is there's so many
first class people just think
exactly like this entitled a-hole
that I'm supposed to tell them what snacks we had.
That's the frustrating part of that story. She's gonna go back and tell her friends who are gonna be like,
guy.
yeah, how dare he think that you tell him
what a monster.
That's why I secretly kind of love all of those restaurant and store reviews that are the unreasonable people. I feel bad for the business who suffers from the bad review.
Yeah.
But these people that are like, I read one that I swear it had to be a joke, but it was something to the effect of, I bought a breakfast sandwich at Starbucks. An hour later, I hadn't eaten it yet. I was near another Starbucks and went in to ask them to reheat it for me. And the person had the audacity to say no because it's a health concern to take a sandwich back and reheat it. Like, they were so offended that
They had the audacity.
They had the audacity to like tell me they couldn't reheat it for me or just give me another
I
sandwich.
feel like that was someone who said, "Here's a word I know."
Yeah. You had the sandwich for an hour in your private bag or coat or whatever.
That's what's so beautiful is that two people are going to their respective circles of people and sharing the story and are both getting the reaction of, "Oh yeah, I'm with you, sister." Like there's a hashtag, if you're not following it, passenger shaming on Instagram. It's just the most vile, horrible, crazy stuff that people have the audacity to do on planes. But it's like the Blockbuster Twitter feed. They're doing it sarcastically and like comedically.
Yeah.
So a flight attendant will be like, "Oh, just cleaning up the plane when you discover that someone left a pee bag."
Oh.
And they just take pictures of the crazy stuff that passengers do on flights. Anyway, that's
At least it was in a bag.
it made me think of that, which I know we're sort of at the end of our time here, but I've had this theory for a really long time. And if we can get this going and get some traction, you brought it up before we clicked record tonight. I think there needs to be, especially in retail, but really any service industry, I had this idea that there should be something called Jerk Day, where those service industry people are allowed for one day a year to respond to you the way they would like to respond to you instead of having to be nice.
Man.
And you would get a button or something that would designate that you're down for it. So every place becomes Ed DeBevick's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every Starbucks becomes Ed DeBevick's, or those restaurants, if you aren't familiar, restaurants where the waitresses and waiters like playfully jab at you the whole time. Like, "What do you want next, fatty?" Like,
they make it a point to be rude.
Yeah.
So
but you're allowed. But it would
Yes.
happen organically. You're not doing it just because. It would still be an interaction that would warrant the behavior. But those service people are allowed to treat you in the way that they would want to for that day. Hashtag Jerk Day. Let's get it going.
I love it.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like everyone needs to do some level of service, some kind of customer service, or we've talked about that before. Like, you leave high school, you've got options. You're going to the military, you got to go work in food or customer service or retail for a while. You've got to volunteer at something for a while. Like, everyone should have to do some level of that just for humility's sake, just to see what it's like to work in one of these positions that it's just, they've never done. A lot of people have never been in that position where they've gotten crapped on because somebody else is having a bad day and it absolutely is unwarranted.
But maybe that's how you also end up with people who don't think it's their job to let you know whether or not that you have popcorn.
I don't know.
I feel that would be an interesting case study to see.
Yeah.
If the humility thing is actually attached to that experience, or if there's something else there, that because you can come out of those exact same experiences thinking that you're way above all of your customers. And
I
mean,
worked
Starbucks comes to mind. I have a thing again.
Just lost that sponsorship.
Hey.
It's all right. They would compete with Backroom Coffee Roasters, our favorite coffee on planet.
Would they though?
No, they wouldn't. It's not even a comparison.
It's not.
There it is.
It legitimately isn't.
It isn't.
Yeah.
A comparison.
Coming from a guy who knows.
Come from a guy who knows. So I have a thing against Starbucks. I have a thing. I feel like it's my job to inform society that Starbucks is not as good as you think it is. And then also, I like to turn the whole like Starbucks. What's the word I'm looking for? Arrogance against their customers, or
Snobbery.
Their arrogance against customer ignorance. Their snobbery is something that like I see and recognize, and and I've decided that generally speaking, I don't like Starbucks employees.
There you go.
There you go.
So if you're listening and you're one, Kendall says quit listening. He doesn't care for you.
Or just be better at life.
It'd be better. No, yeah. I wouldn't even necessarily call that a generalization because I wouldn't say I generally don't like Starbucks employees. The picture that I have in my head of I don't know. Now I'm gonna have to try to dig myself out of this hole.
It's fine.
Time
So,
to
it's not
backpedal
gonna work.
again. Here we go.
So Jerk Day, if something like Jerk Day were instituted, if you were in the service industry, we're assuming you'd be down for it. But if you are not in the service industry or have never worked in the service industry, would you allow those people for one day a year to respond to you in the way that they would really like to when you make silly comments?
Yeah.
Would you be down for that? I think it'd be fun. Little humility.
That also leads me to a question on a series that I would love to do at some point. What are the things in your industry that people outside of your industry do that drive you crazy?
Yeah.
Because I know what bugs me from previous industries I've worked in, but I might go to an airport or I might go to a restaurant or I might go somewhere else. It's not something I've done and do the thing that you're complaining about that everyone does because I just don't know better.
Right.
So that would be a whole thing where people need to weigh in and say, I'm in this industry and it drives all of us crazy when people do this.
Yeah, sort of hey, PSA for if you ever do X.
Yeah, exactly.
Or if you ever enter this type of a business.
Yeah.
This thing that you say or do is annoying.
Yeah, anyone in the service industry is annoyed if you're trying to talk to them while you're on your phone.
Yeah, annoyed or the wrong impressions. So I have a decade of experience in the automotive repair industry.
Yeah.
And so when I hear and see there's a lot of things I'm like, yeah, you don't know what they're actually doing. And if you knew what they were actually doing and you understood it, you wouldn't be complaining the way you are right now.
Yeah.
So we need to have a little empathy,
Yes.
grace, sympathy. We need to just know each other, love each other.
This is why it's kind of like therapeutic, I think, for the three of us, at least for me, because for me, it's like, man, I'm hearing myself talk about.
I know.
I'm hearing myself talk about what I think about Starbucks employees, and I don't like it. And
but I'm right also.
but I'm also right. Yeah. So there's all this humility stuff. There's all this lack of grace stuff and lack of empathy and everything that I recognize myself because I have to talk to you two guys.
Yeah.
Isn't this good? This is so good.
Yeah.
It's so cathartic and good. But we can all agree that Android users, you know who I'm talking about. I got a special message from you
JT.
after that episode, buddy. Seriously, your phones suck. This has been episode 27 of From the Middle. Backroom Coffee Roasters. Get some coffee for your family for this holiday season. We're going to get you guys some stickers. Share them with the world. When you get your sticker, post it, send a picture, use the hashtag @FromTheMidPod so we can see it, and we're going to do some
We'd
fun
love that.
contests with
Yeah,
that.
we think there's a special place in a lot of people's lives for a sticker. Sometimes it's a fridge or a computer or
Who doesn't love stickers?
I like a nice sticker. Yeah, a lot of people do have a collection and they put them on things, and we'd love to see what you guys do with it. So,
This one deserves to be someplace other than your collection, though.
well,
Don't put it with the rest of the stickers.
naturally, but
This is the one that you will actually put on your car.
Yeah. So after you order your couple dozen bags of Backroom coffee and you're super caffeinated and you want to find a special spot for that sticker, just take a picture.
If you could put it in your heart, you would do it. That's how cool they are. Put it right in my heart.
All right,
That sounds medically.
I don't know.
let's wrap it up.
dangerous.
I'm going to get some Diet Fresca.
Diet whatever.
Bye.
Love you guys.
Bye. Thanks, Ludi.